What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take care of two issues I'm having with the lit marquee on my TMNT Arcade1up cabinet. But before we get into that, do me a favor, hit the like button, smash that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. I appreciate it. So I purchased this from the Arcade Game Factory probably a year ago, and it looks really great when it's lit, but the problem is it's not lighting up. It started to flicker a while back, and now it won't light up at all. So let's go ahead and take the back cover off, see if we can't get to the root of the problem. But I think I know what it might be. I'm going to assume that this is probably due to that adapter you see right there. And once you see how loose that thing is in the PCB, you see exactly what's going on. We're just not making good connection. So the LED light strip is good. That's good. The wires aren't damaged. It's really just going to be that connection with the PCB. Now, I think that you've got a couple things going on here. I think the barrel size on that adapter is not correct, and you've got too much length. When you have that much length, you got a lot of torque that could cause issues with that connection also. So it's Amazon to the rescue once again. I found this angled adapter that I think is going to do a couple things for us. Hopefully it'll improve the connection inside the PCB, and some of that weight will now be relieved by angling over. We're also going to hold this cable down with some tape. I like to use this, it's like a fabric tape for automotive applications. Alright, let's see if it works. And if you kill the switch on and off, you get that immediate response the way that it should be. Now let's move on to another issue I'm having with this, and the way this is mounted into your arcade is just with screws. So we take out, there's no dowels like the standard marquee, and we don't have a bolt going into metal threads that draw this nice and tight, so it just gaps over time. So I still have the two stock marquee bolts that came with the arcade. So I headed on down to my local Ace Hardware, and the first thing you want to do when you're finding, you want to find some kind of nut to mate with a screw, is to figure out what size you have as far as the threads. So I started over here with the metric side, and this is a great thing that Ace Hardware has. Give you the ability to sort of check to see what thread count you have. So it wasn't metric. 10-32 is a fine thread. 10-24 would be a coarse thread. I thought for sure this was a fine thread bolt. Turns out it's really not. So the 1024 is what we're looking for. Now what I want to use is something called a T-nut. What we're going to do is we're actually going to drill through the side panel, and then we're going to mount this T-nut into it. And it's like having a nut and a bolt, but this so as we tighten this up, the sharp points on these nuts will actually draw into the wood and remain stationary. So remember that thread count is 1024. A little expensive. It doesn't have to be stainless. Now there are some other options. You could go with a wood insert. I wouldn't recommend this for the Arcade1ups. This is really for hardwoods, something that's a little more dense. It's not going to really work for MDF applications, especially the cheaper MDF that they use for these cabinets. So it's there, it's an option, but I don't think it's right for this application. So we're going to go with the T-nuts. Okay, so you can see I've taken off the marquee, and we have a spacing issue. If I go into the stock location or where the screw was before, the flange of the T-nut is going to be a little too close to the front of the marquee. Or the transparency. So I want to back off that a little bit, slide over into the other piece. So we're not going to go into the side of the wood or into the grain of this piece. We're going to go into the actual side panel there. So we're going to move it over just a little bit, not a ton. Now when you select your drill bit, make sure it's the size of the barrel of the T-nut. That's the portion of the T-nut that's going to extend through the wood. Now don't apply a ton of pressure here. This is pretty soft, and when you look down the hole, it looks like this is actually plastic and not wood. You see how the T-nut's going to sit inside there. We're going to put this on the inside, and then you'll see how the blades prevent it from sitting flush. That's going to draw in as we tighten. Alright, let's go to the other side, and I want to make sure that I measure and get these both in the same spot so that my marquee isn't crooked. Same thing, about the same spacing. Move over, go ahead and drill, applying just a little bit of pressure, not much. You don't want that to grab. And same thing, place the T-nuts on the inside. Alright, now let's put this in place, thread this. Now bear in mind that T-nut is not in the wood, it's not stationary, so it might pop out on you. You may have to hold back up like I'm doing here with my finger until it gets started, until the blades sort of grab into the wood. Now I do start this with the powered screwdriver, not a big drill, just a powered screwdriver. And you'll see that as I apply pressure, you see what happens. It wants to pop out because it's not seated in the wood yet. So hold it with your finger just long enough, running the screwdriver till those blades sort of bite, and then continue to drive it on. And then I'm going to finish off by hand with just a standard screwdriver to really get that to seat nice and tight. Tighten up the other side, and you can see how this should look. You see how that draws everything in nice and tight? That's the way that it should be. You're just not going to get this result with a wood screw, maybe initially, but if you pick this thing up and move it around, which is kind of the point of having a lightweight arcade cabinet, it's going to come apart on you. This looks great. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for stopping by. Y'all have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you next time.